back. You've joined the HOG Auckland Chapter. It's mid-December and we're leaving from a slightly different location than we would normally. We're over the road from the Auckland Harley-Davidson dealership in Mount Wellington, and the ride is departing from there. The reason we can't be in, or we chose not to be inside the dealership grounds, is there's a family day going on over there. We spent a lot of the morning operating the sausage sizzle. There was also a bouncy castle, ice creams, coffee, demo motorbikes, and but the main reason we were over here was where we left from was that the place where we would normally form up inside the dealership was being used for a charity car wash system, which many of our visitors made use of. They were doing a great job, these young kids out there with hoses and soaps and goodness knows what else. No one put their bikes through, strangely enough, but plenty of people happy to have their cars washed. Anyway, we're heading to Manukau Heads, and we're all just looking forward to this one because many of us haven't been out there since the rains took out the road, the Manukau Heads Road, heading up to the Manukau Heads Lighthouse, which was the main reason for heading up there. You get some magnificent views from that place. And I guess we're looking to answer the question, is it still worth heading up on the Manukau Heads without the cherry on top of the fantastic views from the lighthouse at the end of the ride? Well, I think we've answered that question through this particular ride. You'll see we're heading through Karaka now, heading up towards Glenbrook. We'll eventually be making our way through Waiuku, where we'll pick up the riding again. But in the meantime, it's a beautiful day and the roads are in great condition. We're just enjoying being out on the bikes, and we're not really too far from the thriving hub of the city and the motorway and whatnot, but here we seem to be a million miles away in the middle of a country setting. It's really enjoyable. Now, earlier on we left the southern motorway at Papakura, and as you head along there you get onto a road called Linwood Road. Typically you'd probably stay on that road as you kind of guides you down towards Kingshead, etc. We turned off down Walters Road, which is now leading us through this fantastic countryside setting. We're heading in the general direction of Waiuku, just going kind of by not the regular beaten track, I suppose you'd call it. A couple of corner marking situations coming up here. I'm marking a corner just as we get around the next bend. And you'll be able to see how many bikes there were on this ride. I think there were about in the order of 19 or 20 with 4, maybe 5 bikes with pillions. So I've got my wife on the back today. And this is pretty much the straightforward part of the ride. Once we get through Waiuku, we head up onto the Manukau Heads itself proper, and from then on the ride gets even more interesting. There's a lot of bushclad riding, a lot of corners, a lot of twisty, windy places, some skinny roads, but hugely enjoyable, as I think you'll see when we get to it. Anyway, let's be quiet for a bit and let the bikes have the centre stage. At this point we've passed Waiuku and we've pushed westwards about as far as you can go before turning right at Karioitahi, and we're on the Kohekohe Karioitahi Road, and we're heading up towards Kohekohe, where we're going to rejoin the Awhitu Road intersection, slightly more of a main road, where they would generally have a centre line almost all the way down it, unlike great chunks of this road which do not, unlike the part that I'm just presently riding on. We rode through the area here in dry conditions, which I think it's important to note. Dry conditions was good. There was a lot of rain and a lot of slips that happened out here, and there's a lot of clay at various places spread over this road. It's fine in these conditions. under rain conditions, you'd probably have to take a little bit more care. Not that we weren't taking care ourselves anyway, we always do, but we'd have to be going a little bit easy around some of the corners and bends. In any event, you do have to take care out here. The roads are very skinny. They're not really terribly well travelled, so you don't come into the way of too much traffic opposing. But nevertheless, you can't take anything for granted. You've got to ride safely at all times. The important thing is always get home from your ride. Get home safely. Fiji Road was good riding, and the traffic that we did encounter was generally very mindful and good-natured when they saw a bunch of bikes riding behind them, like the fellow with his working truck ahead here pulled over to the left wherever it was safe for him to do so to allow us to all go past. It was a really nice gesture, well appreciated. It wasn't the only such vehicle to do that for us as we're travelling along. Now, I've left this in. We see a few road cones coming up, some traffic lights. We did hit this a couple of times coming along the roads out here because there's been roading issues, and they're still, I think they're prioritising roads outside of this particular area because it's so sparsely populated. There's not a great deal of reason for them to, really accelerate the recovery plans for this piece of road. So you do have a little bit of inconvenience there, but in my view it's well worth it because this is just a pleasure riding around here. You get to see all sorts, open country farmland fields, as well as kind of diving deep into bush-like areas. So yeah, great riding. Now, I don't mean to harp on about it, but I did mention earlier about clay on the roads, the side of the roads. You can see that, and you can see that all over the place here, and you can imagine that under any further rain that the clay would start to slip out onto the roads and create a little bit of a greasy surface. So yeah, that's what I've been talking about, and I'm very happy and grateful that when we came through, the road conditions were as they were, which was perfectly dry. Now, just having passed that little intersection there, the road that we were on before, Kemp Road, has now morphed into Manukau Heads Road. A little bit further up, the road has been completely washed out, but we're not going all up that way, straight ahead there. We'd carry on, you'd come to a impassable section. Instead, what we're doing is heading down Boiler Gully Road. Now, this was also fabulous riding down here. And this was one where there was no centreline whatsoever, as I recall, through this particular stretch of road. Quite a skinny road. It is two-way, but not many other vehicles on it. The name's intriguing to me. I wouldn't have any idea where Boiler Gully came from. If anyone can shed any light as to the origins of the name, I'd be interested to hear it. I haven't thought to Google it. Probably that would be a story told right there. But anyway, we're heading up here, and from a position of some height where we'll eventually start descending soon as we kind of head down, getting closer towards sea level. We'll eventually be heading down a road called Road Bay Road, and then ultimately switching on to Wattle Bay Road. So all that to come. Now, the little glimpses of water that we can see across the top of the bush line, that's inside the Manukau Harbour. Up to the left-hand side is where the Manukau Heads are, leads out to the Tasman Sea, and we just turn our way onto Wattle Bay Road, which is going to head us up towards an area where there are some homes, some population is living up here. Not terribly many, but a few. And yep, there's the Manukau Harbour inside there. Across the other side of the water and down a bit is the Auckland International Airport. But we're a long way from airports and things like that here. We're in the middle of pretty much nowhere. Love it. Well, our journey to Wattle Bay is drawing to a close as we turn on to Dodd Road. It leads down a very short distance down to Wattle Bay itself. And down here there is a little bit of a campground and a picnic area. I guess this is a beach for swimming. We did have a look over there. I recall there was. Can't recall was it a rocky or a sandy beach. But anyway, it's a place where you could definitely have a swim. The turnaround area here, parking area, it's pretty much gravel, but it's tightly packed gravel. No real problems here. So what we did on this day, we just turned the bikes around, parked them, stretched our legs, had a bit of a look around and a catch up, and thought, yeah man, this was a good ride. Enjoyed this. And that's about where we're going to leave this one. So hope you've enjoyed having a look through the Manukau Heads. Give it a try yourself next time you're in town. In the meantime, ride safe, take care, have fun out there. See you next time.